Hey everyone, Joanna in here with the Prosperous Agency going live. Here's the drill. I wrote something for you in case you're in the market for buying a home. I think it's super important to know all these items and maybe write them down. I did write them down for you in my magic notebook that is called Realtor, only because full-time multitasking ninja is not an actual job title. Do I feel like a full-time multitasking ninja? Heck yeah. Like 100% from morning till evening, I am multitasking. We are just busy, which is, thank God, amazing, right? So waiting for all of you guys to come in here. Probably you're like, what is she talking about and who is she and why is that going on there? Because I like it. You know, I was thinking my 13-year-old is doing it, my 6-year-old is doing it. Why am I not doing it? This is so much fun. So I'm just going to do this like this because it's fun, because it makes me feel comfortable, and I bet that I grabbed your attention. I didn't just say that, but that's true. Haha. Okay. So these are the things that I want you to keep in mind, and I'm going to go in detail. And at the end, if you listen with me till the end, you will discover one thing that I have been literally using for a long time. And you, if you're an agent, or if you are a buyer, I highly recommend using it. It's crazy important. I'm just going to leave it there, right? So wait with me, stay till the end. I don't have a lot of time. I have to run to a 6 p.m. appointment, but it's very close by. So I'm going to make it very fast. So the first thing that I want to touch with you when crafting an offer, of course, is price, right? So I have talked to someone recently that said, we have a realtor, they've connected with me, they've already had a realtor, and they were so cute. And I said, you know, I will never make you not use your realtor or sign with someone else. It's just not in my personality. I will never do that. I respect this profession a lot. Everything that we do as multitasking ninjas is super it's just super important. And for the ones that are doing this full-time especially, they understand, and I would never get someone else's client. It's just never gonna happen with me. But the reality is that we really connected with that person. So it was a strange situation. We're connecting, and I'm like, listen, if something happens and it really doesn't work out with your realtor, I'm here. Until that moment, your realtor already spent a lot of time and effort with you, so please just go along. I wish you all the best. Find a house. I'm sure your realtor is gonna do amazing. Long story short, they actually texted me not too long ago, and they said, Joanna, we are actually under contract. Do you wanna, hang out? You wanna give us any advice? And I'm like, well, I don't know about the advice, but obviously I am, because why not? But they have the realtor, and we were talking about price, and I said, so how much more did you offer on top of asking price? And they said, actually, we were right at asking. And that blew my mind, because I haven't written at asking. Well, that's not correct. I actually wrote an offer today, but that's a different situation because it's a house that needs a lot of work. But I haven't written an offer at asking in quite a while. So I was super happy for them to see that they actually got the house. And that's going to lead to my last topic of how to get an offer, really. So you really want to stay with me on this one, especially if you are a home buyer or an agent that is really considering helping their clients purchase something in this type of market. Just so you know, a lot of agents have not had any business with COVID. A lot of agents are struggling. As I said, a lot of buyers, first-time home buyers, are struggling. So it's a very interesting market from a dynamic perspective and from a stress perspective, right? It's not only about the money, it's ultimately about how much stress do you actually incur while going through the process, okay? So price, reverse engineering again. Going back to pricing, It doesn't always have to be so much on top. However, you're not going to offer anything less in this type of market, right? Even if the house has been on the market for a long time, even if it's, I've had several people ask me, how about new construction? It's been there, maybe the lot is not a good lot, it's been sitting there, they're not going to accept it. The inventory is very low. They're offering right now some incentives, some builders, which can be an amazing way to get into the contract and just get some closing costs paid by the lender, by the attorney. However, please do not offer anything below, because with these low interest rates, it's kind of self-explanatory that you don't have to do that. So stick to the price. If you want to offer above, remember there's a lot of people coming here from California, from New York, and you're not going to have a lot of power right now with offering just asking price. I mean, 50, 40, 30, whatever thousand you can offer on top, offer the money to our, not surprised, but it's been interesting to see that a lot of the homes actually appraised, homes that don't have comparables, right? We cannot see comparables. I'm sure the appraisers cannot see comparables either. However, the homes appraise, okay? So we're not gonna get into that conversation, but just kind of rest assured somehow that you could be offering $40,000 on top and the home might actually appraise. So don't always think that if you're offering so much money, you're going to have to bring the money, the difference, right? Between contract price and appraised value, because it's not always the case, right? So that's number one. Number one in crafting an offer, price. Number two is due diligence funds. I will repeat this for all of you guys that are relocating from other states. Due diligence and earnest money in North Carolina are completely different animals. The due diligence is an amount of funds that you actually give at the time of contract, not before. At the time of contract, it's time of the essence, max 24 hours or so, or if you're from out of states, you really need to send that check overnight or to wire that money to the seller. It's an amount of money that matters almost more than price, I can say. And we've seen it all in the last months. I'm going to just say $25,000. So if you are comfortable with providing $25,000 in due diligence funds, wow, okay, we're getting, I don't know if you saw that. That was a pretty interesting lightning that kind of just lit up my whole house. Then what you will find is that it really does give the seller that, wow, they're giving me $25,000, $30,000, $40,000. You're going to get that money back. But for the seller, it really matters, right? So purchase price, due diligence money. It's very important. Now it's up to you how much money you have in your account to actually give that upfront. Keep in mind you are going to have other costs such as inspections. You're going to have to pay for appraisal upfront. So a good conversation with your realtor upfront is, what are my upfront costs? That was a double upfront. But really, what is it that I have to pay at the time of the contract? Due diligence, earnest money, that could be initial or additional, and so on. Okay, so that leads to earnest money. Unlike due diligence that is needed at the time of the contract, ASAP, time is of the essence, you have the earnest money. That can be additional and that can be initial. Why is that important to the seller? Even though it doesn't go directly to the seller, just like due diligence does, and it goes back to you at closing, just as the due diligence funds do, the earnest money goes into a trust account, either in your attorney's trust account or in the listing firm's trust account. That earnest money is important from a perspective of, here's Mr. Seller, I gave you this due diligence amount, keep it. If I walk away for any or no reason, just keep the money. If I walk away after my due diligence period has passed, you get to keep my earnest money as well, right? So it's another step, another way of telling the seller how serious you are about purchasing his home, okay? So this is the earnest money. Closing date. I'm going to put like due diligence and earnest money kind of in the same rank. So for me, I have seen a lot lately that a lot of people don't even care about earnest money anymore because the due diligence is so high. Closing date though is super important, right? Because and that's your realtor's job. It's important from a perspective of you don't know what's happening with the seller. You don't know what's going on in their life. Some of them might want to move out earlier. Some of them might want to move out later. So a good agent is always going to connect with the listing agent and say, what is it that I can do to help make this happen? Is it easier for your sellers to move fast? Is it easier for them to wait 45 days to 60 days? What would make us have an advantage? Now, some of them are not going to share that. Some of them are just going to say whatever, but it's important to have an agent that's proactive and is actually going to ask those questions for you, okay? So closing date, ideally make it as short as possible because everybody wants to close faster rather than later, in my opinion. Post-settlement occupancy. Now, one way to help the seller is by literally saying, I can close in 20 days, 21 days. I am pre-approved. I'm not pre-qualified. I have sent all of my documents to the lender. My lender is going to call your agent. Everything is fine. I'm okay with you, Mr. Seller, to stay in the house a little bit longer, or whatever the case is that works for both parties. Get the money in your account from me, the buyer, and let's just let you stay in the house. So just occupy it for a while, maybe 14 days, maybe a month, something that would make them feel comfortable about the whole process. And if you don't have to close very fast, or if you don't have to move in very fast, it would definitely make the transition for the seller with packing and maybe purchasing something else easier, because if they need to purchase something as well, I mean, they need to have the money ideally, right? And so it's going to make it much easier for the seller, right? So that is the fourth thing on my list. The first one was price, DD funds and earnest money, closing date, ideally short, and then have them have the fourth item, which is the seller occupancy, okay? The fifth item would be, who's the lender? We don't have like a title company here. I know other states, but who is your lender is pretty much very important. I try to advise my clients to use someone that's local because they understand this due diligence period. They understand, obviously the legislation here, and usually I feel more comfortable with working with a lender that has the in-home underwriting and I can just communicate with fast. I am a Speedy Gonzalez when it comes to communication. It's probably one of my biggest strengths as a realtor. I do take breaks, and my clients know when I'm on vacation and when I take breaks, and I do not really work after a certain period of time. After a certain hour during the day, because obviously I have family. But well, that didn't sound right. But you know what I mean? I'm not 24/7, but communication with the lender and communication with the other agent and communication with you as a client is very important. And in this stressful market, you cannot have an agent get back to you in a couple of days. It's just not possible. We also have our clients with off-market properties that are not in the MLS. They will never hit MLS. So we do a lot of deals like that, and it's definitely a shortage of off-markets as well because people don't have anywhere to go. So there's all of these moving pieces that we have to put together, but you cannot. I know I'm blunt like that. Not that you cannot. It's not advisable that you hire an agent that is getting back to you in a couple of days, because you might lose all of the homes that are on the market and just wonder why. Well, that's why, okay? So working with a lender that is local is important for the listing agent as well. I've won countless deals like that. Hey, it's me. I work with XYZ here. Oh yeah, we've worked with them before. Awesome. The phone call was right there from the lender to the listing agent, and they're like, man, I feel so comfortable knowing that you're the one who pre-approved my client. So that is huge, you guys. Who you work with is huge. So if you're relocating, which we have a lot of people relocating, keep that in mind, okay? Type of financing. Whoa, I mean, imagine when we look at 30 offers on one of our listings, we obviously look at the type of financing, right? And some of our sellers don't even bother anymore with first-time home buyer. It's so painful, right? Or like someone that's putting down 3%. Why? Because that says a lot about how much money can they actually bring to the table in case they want to offer higher, right? In case the house doesn't appraise. So that's out. USDA or even FHA, it all depends on the seller, right? We're not the ones making the decision as a realtor. However, yeah, the type of financing does matter, and we look at that a lot. If it's 80% loan to value, if it's 50% loan to value, here's the pre-approval letter. If the house is $500,000 and they're approved to buy up to $800,000 or $1 million or $30 million, that really does matter to us and to the sellers, right? Down payment, it's gonna lead into the same type of financing, but it really does matter a lot. So if you do have the money in your account and you think, well, maybe I'm not going to use it unless it's something very important that you need to do with that money. Maybe you're trading, like my husband all day, whatever the case is, right? It's important for you to have that money for the down payment, because again, it matters a lot when we look at multiple offer situation, multiple offers, okay? Removal of the appraisal, right? So, I mean, it's just the trend. We could just create masks with, we don't want an appraisal, we don't want anything else. I've talked to you about this. You don't care about the appraisal, you just go in, here's my offer. If it doesn't appraise, I'm going to pay on top of whatever the appraisal amount is, and there you go. This is the market that we're in, and I will repeat with all the people that are moving from New York, LA, Miami, they're bringing a lot of cash to the table, and it's very, it's hard to compete with all cash, right? But it's not a lost game. It's not a lost game. Not everyone goes for cash all the time. Here I am, living proof. Okay, inspection removal. Now, I have talked about this before, and in North Carolina, you do not have to have an inspection, and the sellers do not have, well, it's not that you do not have to have, but the contract itself states that the house comes in as is condition. So I will reiterate this. They do not have to do anything. We are obviously helping our buyers with getting the inspections done, getting the negotiations done, but in the type of market that we are in right now, I haven't seen one seller. Like, we've negotiated on some of our deals for our buyer clients with some homes that need some repairs, like pretty huge repairs. But other than that, they really do not even care. And so stating that the house comes as is condition, it's like, you know, reiterating what the contract already says. So for you being represented by a buyer's agent, if that agent in the initial consultation with you doesn't tell you that, it might seem like, oh my God, this agent is not gonna actually work for me. Not true. The agent is just telling you what the contract is actually stating. And if the agent by any means let you believe that the seller is gonna come back and say, oh, Mr. Buyer, thank you so much for sending this inspection report my way. I am so humbled to see it, and I will fix everything from A to Z. Seriously? Not gonna happen. And especially in this market, definitely not going to happen. So kind of take your mind off of that and just rest assured that if you have a good agent on your side, things can happen and we can actually work with the list agent, because they don't want to put the house back on the market. But if they can get $30,000 in due diligence funds that you gave them and you want to walk away, so it's up to you. It's up to you how you analyze the home, the situation that you're in, and how much courage do you have to go on the contract and say, shall I discover anything that is horribly wrong with this house? I'm not walking away, because I mean, I'm losing $30,000 versus I am spending $10,000 or $15,000 in fixing something, right? So it's like, woohoo, which way do I go, okay? So removing inspections, removing appraisal, short closing date, a lot of due diligence money, earnest money, closing time, purchase price, all of these are very important. Who do you use as a lender? Very important. Okay, so we have gotten to the end, and this is my favorite part, you guys, and I don't know why, but I have an idea as to why. And I can tell you that real estate as an agent can be an emotional roller coaster. And I think as a human being, everything depends on your perception. It can be great or it can be effed up, right? It can be an amazing life, an amazing transaction, an amazing dinner, an amazing movie time, and it can suck. So where I'm going with this is that there are a lot of agents that put escalation clauses, and there are a lot of agents who don't, because it's not very used here. I know that it's used in other states, and I know that a lot of clients, sellers might say, hey, I mean, if they are willing to pay $2,000 with an escalation clause or whatever on top of the highest offer that we've received, we'll take it. But the reason why I'm saying this is my favorite of all is because I have been in closings where buyers cried. Obviously I cried because I cry easily. Sellers cried. Sellers actually came with a gift for the buyers. At what point is enough enough? At what point do you as a seller literally disregard someone's story, someone's need to buy a house because they need to be close to the hospital, someone's maybe having, several children, and really presenting a beautiful letter to you stating, this is us, we really need we really need this house. There was a post at some point with a dad that had this post saying, I have a steady job, I don't know how many kids, I don't remember the details, but it was very striking because he was so desperate to get a house for his children. And he actually was like, what is it that you need me to do? Just tell me and I will do it. Just give me a house. It's unprecedented times. And so, the high demand, low inventory, low rates, everything that has been happening with the stimulus checks, and I'm not gonna get into that. But escalation clause versus love letters to Mary Jane, I call them, right? In my opinion, 95% of the time I have won with love letters to Mary Jane. And that's when you feel the humanity in what you do, and that's where you feel your value. Anyone can offer money, but the value comes from relationships that are developed between real estate agents, relationships, deep connections that are developed between clients and agents that represent them well, relationships between lenders, attorneys, people that are there to provide value, period. There is no other way around it. And yes, there will be sellers that are going to only go for the money, but I have never in my entire career participated in a closing that was all about money, that came down with tears, with hugs, with presents, with this amazing fulfillment feeling. Never. Will I ever? Who knows? Who knows? But not yet, right? So let me just say that there's still hope, and I really do hope from all of my heart that what we provide to both buyers and sellers is beyond the money. Now, we're still going to give you a net sheet, we're still going to show you pros and cons, This is what you do, right? This is ultimately just a transaction from a financial perspective. But beyond just the financial transaction, there is so much more. And it's just like in every job, and it's just like in every situation in life. You either prevail with value, with involvement, or you prevail with just, yeah, I know the numbers, this is just a transaction, next. You know what? If that's who you want to choose, that's perfectly fine. It's not the way we do business. And so, that being said, let me know if you need any help. Let me know if you need anything, any advice. I know that the drill would be like, connect with me, like, subscribe. Yeah, feel free to subscribe. I do have a YouTube channel that I've taken a little break in the past months. I just felt like I needed to breathe a little bit and to just clarify and everything. It's been a long year for us as well with our family back in Europe and with COVID. But we're back and we're here to stay, and we're here to provide value regardless of what's happening with the economy. People are still going to need to buy homes. People are still going to sell homes. They're going to relocate, and let's make a pact. If you want to connect with me, just make it cool. Just know that I'm a cool girl. I know, right? I'm so humble. Anyway, have a nice rest of your evening, you guys, or a nice rest of your day, regardless of where you are. Yeah, that sounds totally English correct. I guess you get the point. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye. Take care. I will be keeping this here. Probably I'm not gonna upload it on my YouTube channel though, but seriously, any questions you have, just call me. Take care. Bye.